What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm like Visa, everywhere you want to be. Now, Jessie Vargas, he says he's knocking Pacquiao out. It's not the first time. I posted a video from Top Rank. Make sure you check it out. It's on their Instagram. I just simply reposted it.
I didn't just start boxing just yesterday. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. I have all it takes to beat Manny Pacquiao. I can sit here and tell you why you're wrong. But why? Is that going to make you change your mind? No, I'm going to whoop Manny Pacquiao's ass November 5th. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to shut you up. I mean, that's...
So, you heard it from the man himself. He said he's going to knock him out. He's done other interviews with the media and said he plans on doing it in the late rounds 8 or 9 or something like that. So I want to know from you guys if you agree with Jessie Vargas. Does he have what it takes to beat a guy like Manny Pacquiao? Now, you guys seen the clip at the beginning, and that was from a person, Stan Martinook, who has sparred with Manny Pacquiao before, right? And just from talking to him, I talked to him about other stuff outside of that interview, and it sounds like Pacquiao is just very hard to read. I think Mayweather would also attest to this, because he was just like, I think it was Fight Hub or Fight Hype, one of them, and he did an interview with Floyd Mayweather. It was Fight Hype, and he was getting his haircut or something after the Pacquiao fight, and he was like, yeah, Pacquiao, he got a little bit of thump. He got some thump in that left hand, and he wasn't expecting it. Pacquiao caught him in transition, and that's basically what Stan said. And he sparred him. He was in the camp with Victor Postal before Victor Postal was a champion. They both were in the same camp. I think Pacquiao might have been training for Chris Algieri. Don't quote me on that. But Stan says he can just accelerate, and out of nowhere, you're like, wow, like, damn, where did that come from? And we've seen it. Pacquiao is fast as fuck, right? And it's unrhythmic. And those guys, you got to watch out for those weird-ass Emmanuel Augustus, Marcos Maidana, unorthodox, awkward. You got to watch out for all of that, because you could be like a textbook fighter. You know what position their head's going to be in. You know where and what direction the punches are typically coming from. But guys all fidgety like Pacquiao, I've used this analogy before, but his style is like Tourette's. You know what I mean? You don't know what that person is going to say next. You don't really know what Pacquiao is going to do, because he'd be like, do-do-do-do. And he's like moving to the side and trying to create these weird angles. And actually, Vasyl Lomachenko, sometimes his footwork, I think his footwork's a bit more intelligent than Pacquiao, but it reminds me of Pacquiao a bit, because Vasyl Lomachenko, he does weird angles, and I think it's also Vasyl Lomachenko has better technique with throwing of his punches, but to each his own. It works. Pacquiao does what works for him. But I've seen Lomachenko move, sidestep, move to the side, come from an angle, especially if Lomachenko has you out of position. You know what I mean? And Pacquiao, he's got power, throws punches and bunches, and then he gets out. He's an ambush style fighter. He's not a pressure fighter. Some people mistake these different fighters. A pressure fighter to me is like a Brandon Rios, a Ruslan Provodnikov. No matter what, they're going to plow forward. Pacquiao, if you give him something to respect, he's going to respect you a bit. But he's going to ambush you and then move out of the way. I think Keith Thurman, he said he has a jackrabbit style, which is another good way to reference it. But back to Jessie Vargas, I feel him in terms of he feels he's being overlooked. He feels like he's just being brought in. He's the champion. And not only is he a champion, it was a vacant belt, but he earned it. He beat an undefeated guy who's kind of in the contender prospect stage, who was a mandatory for Timothy Bradley. Bradley took the money fight with Pacquiao, and the belt became available, and he beat him in good fashion, stopped Saddam Ali, an Olympian who was undefeated, right? So he feels he's not getting his just due. He's been in there with Bradley, Josito Lopez, guys like that, Aaron Martinez, and he feels he's not being respected as a champion. So I understand him from that aspect. Hopefully Jessie Vargas doesn't choose to fight with a chip on his shoulder, because it's not a good thing for the most part. I mean, if you could bottle it up and use that as motivation to knock someone out, so be it. But more often than not, I think I see guys like Timothy Bradley, when he fought Ruslan Provodnikov, out of anger because he was getting death threats.
Hello, Tim Bradley. Hey, Desert Storm, I'm gonna fucking kill you and your fucking family. You, Monica, I'm gonna kidnap you. The clowns are waiting.
Like, Bradley's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Getting death threats.
Hello, Ollie Oxenfree, you motherfucker. It's me again. You shouldn't beat Pacquiao.
Like, you know what I mean? He's getting death threats and stuff. And he took that into the ring in his next bout with Ruslan Provodnikov, and he nearly paid the price. He was fighting with a concussion. He was on the ropes. He looked out of it. Post-fight, when they're interviewing him, he looked out of it. You know what I mean? So, to me, more often than not, it's not a good thing when fighters fight with a chip on their shoulder, especially a guy like Pacquiao. Pacquiao, to me, also, I look at this is just my opinion, people. Pacquiao, ever since he got knocked out by Marquez, he's been more cautious. Like, he has that in the back of his head. I mean, it's not something you could forget. It was like they were making a million memes of you and stuff. You don't just forget that, even though it happened, I think, in 2012. You don't just forget it, right? So he's been more cautious and calculated. Like the Brandon Rios fight, he was boxing more than he usually does. If this was Pacquiao before the knockout, he probably would have fought Brandon Rios like he fought Margarito, which is just stay on top of him and, you know what I mean, bust his eye socket out. A guy with no defense who's slower than him and stuff like that. But he was more cautious coming off a long layoff in the Marquez knockout. So the point being, you can't overlook a guy like Pacquiao, and Jessie Vargas doesn't want to, damn, this chick's is hot. Jessie Vargas doesn't want to bring in that negative energy into his fight, because this is the fight of his career. And he already has one loss to Timothy Bradley. Some people dispute it. I really don't think he could have stopped Bradley in those remaining 8 seconds. And that's like an almost situation. If you guys ever seen the movie Apocalypto, like almost doesn't cut it. The end result was you still lost. Pat Russell made a mistake and you lost. You know what I mean? Whether it was unfair, it was a human error, period. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So Pacquiao, he's like, I'm a fan of underdogs. I like, if Jessie Vargas proves me and everybody else wrong, I'm probably going to do a 7 reasons. I think Pacquiao will win. I think Vargas could hold his own. But I've seen too many things. I think obviously Pacquiao has a better resume. I'm going to break it down, probably do a 7 reasons on it. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of underdog stories. If he proves me wrong or shuts me up, then it is what it is. I have no problem with that. I can't get on this mic and tell you guys something I don't feel. I think stylistically, this fight clearly favors Pacquiao. He's the faster guy. He's the more experienced, especially at elite level. I mean, even though he got dominated by Floyd Mayweather, unless you watch it in slow motion, it's still experience. You know what I mean? You still know you were in there with probably the best pure boxer of this generation. You know what I mean? Or one of them. And it's still experience. You know what I mean? So he clearly has that. So I don't know. I don't know what Jessie Vargas is going to have to do. The only thing that's interesting with fighters like Pacquiao and Mayweather, they're late 30s, mid to late 30s, approaching 40. And they've been in the game for a while. So it's always interesting and intriguing to see if Father Time will catch up to them, right? Like, will Floyd Mayweather all of a sudden get clipped more because he's older and his reflexes slowed a little bit? You know what I mean? Like a Roy Jones Jr. Will that happen to Pacquiao? He's older. So that's what's more intriguing to me. But if it's the vintage Pacquiao that shows up, that always shows up, then I mean, I think this stylistically favors him in pretty much all the ways. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with Jessie Vargas? Can he knock out Pacquiao? Drop me a comment and give me educated breakdowns of who will win, how will they win, why do you think they'll win. I like to say I do like Jessie Vargas with his new coach, Dewey Cooper, fighter. I just like the partnership. They did good work together with the Saddam Ali situation. Let me know what you guys think. Will this animosity of not being respected as a champion, will that play in Jessie Vargas' favor? Will it hurt him? Is a knockout something and see, that's the other thing. When I don't know, because sometimes it's just fighters talking. But when I start hearing people who aren't known knockout artists like that, like, don't get it twisted. For me, I don't think Jessie Vargas is a known knockout artist. When I think of known knockout artists, I don't really think of Vargas. You know what I mean? Like, he has respectable power, but it's kind of like an Amir Khan situation. If you come up to him like Luis Collazo did with his hands down, then you might get dropped. You know what I mean? If Vargas catches you flush, then you might get hurt or rocked or whatever, like Bradley. But I don't think of him as a known knockout artist. When I think of that, I think of Gennady Golovkin, Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. When they hit you, you feel it. You know what I mean? Lucas Matisse, you know what I mean? Guys like that crack you, you might not get back up, or you're going to be so discombobulated. I don't know if I would consider, I don't think I consider Vargas a knockout artist. You know what I mean? So him saying all this knockout stuff, maybe it's for show, maybe it's to boost himself up and give himself confidence. I don't know. But that's another thing that I don't necessarily, we'll see. If you can knock him out, you'll knock him out. Like, I never really heard Juan Manuel Marquez say, I'm knocking Pacquiao out this time. You know what I mean? He just went in and tried to do his best work, and he got the knockout in the 4th time. So when I hear no knockout artists say they're going to knock someone out, it's not a big surprise. When I hear guys that I don't really consider knockout artists talk about the knockout so much, it's kind of like, that could be a bad game plan. If you go in there looking for the knockout, thinking you're just going to walk over Pacquiao, you know what I mean? Unless he's on that Shubaloo drug again or something like that, it's not going to necessarily just be easy. If it was that easy, Chris Algieri and Brandon Reed, all these other guys would have done it, you know what I mean? Easily. But you guys let me know what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.